We are back with a Fox News alert right now. Iranian leaders are scrambling to replace their supreme leader who ruled the country for 37 years before he was killed in Operation Epic Fury over the weekend. This is only the second time since 1979 Islamic Revolution that a new supreme leader is being chosen. The Associated Press writing, quote, potential candidates range from hardliners committed to confrontation with the West to reformists who seek diplomatic engagement. The supreme leader has the final say on all major decisions, including war, peace, and the country's disputed nuclear program. Joining me now is former State Department advisor on Iran, Gabriel Noronha. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining us. So we have a list of potential successors that the current Iranian regime may put in place. What should we know about them?
You know, anyone that is up for actual consideration for supreme leader has to have a few qualifications. First, they're supposed to be well-versed in Islamic jurisprudence. This is going to be the leader of the Shia movement, as well as the political and cultural leader of Iran. They are also going to be insiders. This is very much almost like getting elected as Speaker of the House. These are people who are well known to the Assembly of Experts, which is the body that is actually going to be choosing them. And all of the key thing to know is everyone on that Assembly of Experts is either handpicked by Supreme Leader Khamenei himself or his inner circle. So these are hardliners choosing more hardliners.
Yeah, and you know, it is true that it was reported that the Ayatollah was already aware of his potential demise, which eventually happened, and did have a handle in who could potentially replace him. And there's reporting that they were talking about a Delsi of Iran, a reference to Venezuela, somebody who could keep the regime focus in place while still being able to work with President Trump. Do you see any names on that list that could fulfill that?
So there's the possibility, I think it's quite remote, of Hassan Rouhani being one of those guys. He was the former president of Iran from about 2012 to 2019. And he is perceived as having been able to work with the West. But in reality, he still rejected all the diplomacy of the first Trump administration. And he's been considered rather problematic due to corruption and economic mismanagement. One of the more likely candidates, I think, is Moshtaba Khamenei, who is the son of the last supreme leader. He is sort of been playing behind the scenes, pulling strings, and has made a lot of friendships with those key leadership cadres.
And then, of course, you have the exiled crown prince saying that he wants to, wants to control the transitional government, and then there'll be democratic elections in place. And if that does in fact happen, that means that this regime is defeated and none of these people matter.
Absolutely. Look, I've met Reza Pahlavi. I think he's a compelling leader. If there were an open and free fair election in Iran right now, he would win in a landslide.
Really?
And he would bring in a government that's very friendly to Iran. His issue is he doesn't have military forces capable of actually securing any election like that. So that's his challenge right now.
It is a dangerous time to be an American in the Middle East and overseas. Here is Secretary of State Marco Rubio on that.
At the Department of State, our #1 priority is the safety and the security of American citizens everywhere in the world. Now, with what's going on in the Middle East with Operation Epic Fury and the cowardly attacks that we're seeing from Iran against Gulf countries, I wanted to take this chance to speak directly to Americans who are in the Middle East about the work we are doing to try to keep you safe. Americans in the Middle East, you can reach the Department of State 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And tapping into your State Department expertise here, they've issued a worldwide caution for Americans. What should we know about that?
First, we don't issue these kinds of warnings lightly. There is a strong process that used to get to that point. And what I would say is this: the Iranian regime has terror cells in every country in the Middle East. In the past, they've targeted Israeli businessmen and tourists. Now that is likely to expand to Americans. The Iranians also have a strong history of going after American diplomatic facilities, businesses, and so they're likely to either do kidnappings or assassinations of any Americans they can get their hands on. So Americans need to be very cautious in their surroundings if they're in the Middle East today.
It's a scary time. It certainly is, but that warning we will heed. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.